This week, Apple held WWDC, where they showed off a ton of new exciting things that includes an incredible new Mac Pro and display, iOS 13, and a brand new separate iPadOS. I was able to install iPadOS on my iPad Air 2, and I wanted to go over some of my favorite new features. I don't have pencil support on this iPad, which is why I left those features out. Also, some of these features apply to the iPhone and iOS 13 as well. All of this will be released in fall. So the first thing you'll notice is a new home screen featuring a more compact grid of apps. If you slide in from the left, you can now bring your widgets into the home screen, and if you want, you can go down to the edit menu here and pin the widget view onto the home screen. It's worth noting that this will only work in landscape orientation. Also, there's an all-new dark mode which can darken all of your apps at night to make it easier on the eyes. This is nice because you can schedule this to come on at sunset and turn off at sunrise. Or if you want, you can manually enable it in the control center under the brightness settings. iPadOS even comes with some dynamic wallpapers that darken when dark mode is enabled. If you use Slide Over, which is a way to quickly view an app while another one is open, then you'll be happy to know that iPadOS makes it easier than ever to switch between slide over apps. So you can see I have a slide over app here, and there's a home indicator now at the bottom of the slide over view. So if I want, I can bring Safari on over here, and now I can switch between the App Store and Safari easily. It's almost like you have a separate iPhone view on your iPad. There's also a new feature called multiple instances of apps. This is super cool if you want to have a few things open from the same app. All you have to do is tap and drag, for example, a note here to the side, and now I have two notes open at once. And if I want, I can take Safari here and bring it next to this note. And now you can see all the instances I have of notes open. And the iPadOS keeps all these instances together. So Safari and this note will be separate. There are a couple big improvements to the Files app, with the main one being external drive support. So you can see if I plug in a USB stick, it'll pop up on the side here and I can access all of the files. I had to have my iPad plugged in for this to work because it said it couldn't power the USB stick without it. Safari is now a desktop browser on the iPad, so you won't see mobile versions of websites unless you want to. Apple made a point to specifically mention Google Docs in the keynote. Also, there's a brand new download manager in Safari on the iPad. So if I go here and download a file, it'll put it in the download manager here and I can check the progress. All of these files will be downloaded into a downloads folder on your iCloud drive in the Files app. Now you can shrink the iPad keyboard down to a much smaller size, which is great for one-handed typing. And it's also really awesome because now there's a swipe style keyboard. This makes typing much faster if you're using it one-handed. Unfortunately though, I wanted to use the swipe style keyboard when I was using the larger keyboard, but it's not supported. Apple will be releasing a new detailed Maps app that they have been building, which will include what Apple calls Look Around. So you can see I have a pin here, and I had to do this in San Francisco because it's not supported everywhere yet, but there's a button called Look Around here, which brings up a view that's just like Street View. And if you want, you can double tap on the screen and kind of drive along down the road with the other cars. So far, it looks pretty cool. Lastly, a couple things I wanted to point out. You can press and hold on an app to bring up the quick action menu. This will only work if you press and hold and release. Otherwise, it will bring up the menu with the wiggling apps where you can delete an app. And yes, finally, there is a brand new volume level indicator that's not right in the center of the screen blocking your content. If you want to see everything else that is new, I'll put a link in the description to Apple's website that lists all the new features. I also want to mention that this is a beta, so some of this stuff could still be tweaked.